Alright guys, ZFR back here, and this is going to be my review for The Walking Dead Season 8 finale, which was titled Worth. And this episode was interesting. That's the best way I can describe it. And right off the bat, I'm going to throw it out there and say that I liked the episode. I did like the finale. I thought they did a good job. But I will kind of talk about some stuff that I kind of was a little iffy about in here. And to be honest, I'm seeing it a lot. The finale didn't resonate too well with a lot of the fans, and others it resonated well with them. But right now, I'm seeing a lot of people saying it was a disappointing finish for the all-out war season, and I admit it was. And look, and once again, looking at this season as a whole, for me, it was kind of disappointing. Like, the first half was really, I don't know, man. First half, in my opinion, we just didn't see enough of the saviors moving around. You had them stuck for the first half of the season, and then it felt like more of a miniature war. It felt like a few battles here and there, where in the comic it was big battle, big battle, big battle, big battle, done. You know, like it was more concentrated. And one thing I feel like, there are a couple reasons I feel like this happened. So one of the good explanations for why this season has felt like this, or whatever, that I've heard, is the budget. And I believe that completely, because I mean, AMC, we know they're a little bit money hungry and stuff. So yeah, they're making some really messed up budget decisions. Obviously, you know, they're getting sued by the directors of The Walking Dead, for God's sake, already. So it's not too crazy to assume that they didn't give them a big enough budget for this season, and definitely not for this last episode, because it's just like, this is your biggest show. This is their most action-packed season, or was supposed to be. Why not give them a little bit of a bigger budget this time around? But, you know, once again, AMC, that's how they go. So with that being said, a lot of people were saying they felt like this episode was kind of lacking in the action department, and that's why I feel like it was. I feel like it was just the budget. It feels like they had to cut some of it down in order to fit in the length of the budget and stuff. But yeah, one of the other things that I kind of, as a whole, found weird about the season was, I guess, the what's the word I'm looking for here? The structure, like, is that word? Yeah, structure. Like, I feel like the season is very much structured to kind of fit into the whole half a season, mid-season premiere, mid-season finale, then like final season. It is very much built to fit into that format. When I feel like All Out War, really all you needed to do All Out War with was like the first 10 episodes. I felt like you could have been done by the time you hit like 10 or 12, and you could have been done with All Out War. But then again, I'm not too sure how much I like the idea of getting the new beginning this early. So with that being said, they would have had to find some way to kind of beat around that, and maybe not introduce that too early. So in a way, they did a good job, but I don't know. Like, I feel like all of this was stretched out too long. I'm talking like from the end of the season 6 finale all the way to here. I felt like it was all stretched out extremely too much. I feel like they should have condensed that just a little bit, just a little, you know. Because when we got here to this season, it was bad last season with the structure. But when we got here to this season, man, it just felt like we were going a little bit slower than we should have been. But anyway, back to the finale. Some of the good things that happened. You had the stuff with, well, obviously Eugene. Eugene is like the biggest takeaway for me in this episode, because I mean, holy crap, like, he just got like the most, like, his body count at this point is probably higher than Rick's, because he killed a lot of people with those exploding bullets. Definitely Eugene's biggest moment, I feel, or one, I would say his biggest moment, but it's definitely up there with a lot of the others. So yeah, really exciting. And also, just a warning if you haven't read the comics. But I definitely feel like Rosita and Eugene is happening in the show. I'm calling it now. I think that's happening next season. Just that little moment at the end there, they're getting they kind of make up. They make up with him betraying them and everything, and they kind of go back to becoming friends almost instantly, and they kind of forgive each other. So with that being said, I think we're going to see them together next season. I think that's going to be one thing. I know a lot of people are saying Daryl and Rosita, and please no, let's I'm rooting for team. God, what would their SIP name be? I don't even know. Eugenia? Nah, I'm terrible at that. But anyway, moving on. So some other big stuff that happened in the episode was obviously we got the ending of the war. The big battle. Rick beat Negan. They took the stuff out of the comic with Rick slitting Negan's throat and stuff, and still saving him in the end. I really loved this moment. I loved all that at the end there. I know a lot of people were saying that the Rick versus Negan fight was a little small or it was a little weak, but that's like I said in my review for episode, what was it? 12 of this season, when Rick and Negan fought earlier this season. I was like, that's their big showdown, because in the comics they don't really have a big all-out fight, to be honest, towards the end. I mean, all that really happens between them is Rick cuts Negan's throat, but Negan jumps back and breaks his leg and stuff. So with that being said, there wasn't gonna be much there either way, but I feel like they managed to give us something ahead of time. But anyway, yeah, there was all that. Loved Maggie's reaction to it. Perfect. Lauren Cohan, please, oh my God, don't leave the show. I'll be so salty if we lose Carl one season and then her the next season. That's just too much, AMC. Get your shit together and pay her more. She deserves it, especially after performances like she did tonight. That's just my opinion on that. But yeah, some other really interesting stuff was the Dwight and Daryl stuff. Daryl forgave Dwight. That was nice. And but the weird thing about that is he was still like at the end, if you ever come back, I'll kill you. So I'm kind of wondering how they're going to do that. Dwight's coming back. Like, he definitely is. And there's probably going to be a time skip by the time we hit next season. So with that being said, I'm wondering how they're going to bring Dwight back in. I wonder if he's going to be looking for Sari, how all that's going to work, or if they're going to go the comic route and kind of have him get with Laura, or maybe he finds Sari and she ends up with someone else anyway, kind of like they did in the comics. Which was messed up, but maybe that. But I kind of want to see Dwight and Laura. I mean, Sari was good and everything, but I want to see Dwight and Laura. I feel like they've kind of already built Laura up a little bit. I feel like I want to see more of that actress and stuff on the show. So with that being said, that's a lot of the big stuff for the Saviors. Right there. That's pretty much everything for the Saviors. Obviously, they're going to be a part of the new communities and stuff. The Oceanside stuff was, I don't want to say it was garbage, because it was alright, but it wasn't needed. Like, I mean, looking at it right now, it's kind of like you were better off leaving it like it was in the comics. And sorry if people are tired of everyone comparing stuff to the comics, but it's true. Like, in the comics, after pretty much the Oceanside would have been introduced episode 1 of next season, and they would have just been there. They would have been a group that was encountered and met off screen, and that were just there. I mean, because I feel like at this point, people are more annoyed by them than anything. I feel like bringing them in early, giving them the extra screen time, I mean, you didn't really do enough with them. If you were going to do that, you should have been giving them a lot more screen time. Maybe you should have brought them in a couple episodes earlier, had them interact with some of the Saviors. Oh man, it would have been freaking awesome if they had some kind of encounter with Simon. You could have really flushed some of those characters out like that, but no, you just decided to save them until now, and you had them in the episode for like 20 seconds. That was their big payoff. And yeah, it was cool to see them throwing those Molotovs and, killing a bunch of Saviors, but overall, it was weak to me, their whole storyline. Rick and the Carl stuff, I still don't like Carl's death. I'm sorry. I don't see why. I still don't see the storytelling point behind them killing Carl. That's why I'm agreeing with the people that said something else happened behind the scenes, because there's just no way they killed Carl off to tell this version of the story. It's so stupid. That would be so stupid if they killed him off just to tell this version of the story. There's no reason you couldn't have done this exact same thing, everything that you've done, while keeping Carl alive. It feels like they decided to kill him off because of whatever other reason, and then they just wrote the story around that change of having to kill him off. So yeah, I'm still not feeling that stuff. And don't get me wrong, the stuff with Andrew Lincoln and the Carl visions and stuff towards the end, it was all great. It was all well done, but I'm sorry, that Carl death to me is still that I'm still not seeing anything to really warrant that. Not at all. Like I'm still not seeing anything to really bring that to light. In my opinion, if you had to kill him, you would have been better off doing it sometime next season. At least we got to enjoy. At least we would have gotten to enjoy New Beginning Carl a little bit. But no. So yeah, I didn't enjoy that at all. Then let's see, what else was there? There wasn't too much really with Masson specifically in this episode. I mean, they're locking Negan up like they did in the comics once again. I like that aspect that they kept that. I like that Maggie, I'm trying to save the whole Maggie, Daryl, and Jesus ending, or not ending, but scene for the end, because I feel like that's probably the most interesting thing that a lot of people are talking about going into the future season. But yeah, overall, like, I mean, the episode was good, okay? It was good, but in my opinion, I feel like the build up here is just what killed it. Like, I feel like you could have. I see why a lot of fans are saying this episode was disappointing. It didn't feel like a final battle or anything like that, because we kind of needed a final battle. We needed a big flashy one, for the simple reason that we haven't really gotten one at all this season. None of the fights we've gotten this season between the Saviors and the Survivors have been like big, extremely memorable, flashy fights. I mean, when you look back to episode 1, all they really did in that episode was shoot at the sanctuary, and yeah, there was a purpose behind it. They were drawing the walkers in, but they didn't really have a fight with the Saviors. Then the next fight we saw is in that episode where Morales popped up at the end, and that was decent, but that was a little outpost fight. That felt like a mini boss, so that wasn't really anything. And then going on throughout the season, the other big one was, of course, after Carl got bit and Alexandria got bombed. That wasn't even as good as it was in the comics. At least in the comics, there was a fight put up. So yeah, a lot of the fights here, in my opinion, just didn't really match up to the comic version, and that's not even the bad part. That's not even what makes this bad. The fact that this is the season that was advertised as All Out War as being an action-packed season, it felt like it lacked in that regard, and I understand completely that it was most likely due to their budget. I'm not surprised at all if AMC staffed the show on budget or whatever if they really held back on them. I wouldn't be shocked at all. So that really took away from it. But yeah, with that being said, I guess there's only one scene left to talk about. The Maggie scene at the end, the Maggie betrayal that a lot of people are talking about. I'm going to make a separate video going into more detail about this. But for now, just for the sake of keeping this video short, no, I don't think Maggie is betraying them. I don't think it's happening. But what I do think is going to happen is kind of something very similar to the comics, where a few years later, once certain events occur, she is going to go after Negan. I think that's what's going to happen. And even against Rick's orders and stuff, because Maggie and Rick at one point in the comics, and this isn't spoilers, I promise that I'm not going to spoil anything for you, but they do bump heads, and you obviously are already seeing that that's going to happen in this episode, this scene I'm talking about. But it gets pretty heated then, but it's not too bad. So I'm guessing the show, it might be a little bit bigger, simply because of the way they betrayed it. Then you have Daryl in here. Walking Dead fans, hate me if you want. I want Daryl gone. I want him gone. I'm sorry. It's time to give him a death next season, in my opinion. I don't think he should be one of the stick deaths or the pose deaths. With people who read the Whisper arc, you know what I'm talking about. I don't think he should be one of those, but give him a good death next season and let's get him out. I'm sorry, his storyline at my point, it's like he's been here too long. Let's get him out. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to leave likes and comments down below and tell me what you guys thought of this episode. My review score for this episode was a 4 out of 5. This was a good episode. It did satisfy in some regard. It wasn't bad, but overall it really dropped the ball in terms of that big explosive payoff that we were all hoping for. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. I will see you guys on the next one. ZFR out.